Gym owners, hey, health coaches, uh, medical practitioners, whoever you are, if you're in the health and wellness space, welcome. Today, I want to talk to you about throughput, which is probably a missing metric in your service, and it's one that really needs to exist because it is intrinsically linked and cohesively linked with essentially business growth. So, if you're on this and you are in a place where your business maybe just hasn't sustained, like been growing sustainably, and you are maybe lacking in revenue, or your retention is quite low or poor, your churn is quite high, then this is most likely the missing ingredient to your business. And so, yeah, I want to talk to you about throughput today. We'll start off with what it is. And what it is it's actually essentially, it kind of comes from IT and the computing kind of world. And it's basically the materials or data, right, that a system can successfully process, produce, and deliver in any given amount of time. So, for example, like in a manufacturing company, throughput is how many units can be produced and then delivered to a supplier within a given amount of time. Okay. How this applies in your business is this is actually kind of the results that typically happen in your gym, right, or in your wellness practice. So it's the results that are produced in a given amount of time. Okay. It's the rate in which your clients move from where they are upon starting in your space to where they want to be. Okay. And it's not necessarily about how many people walk through the door. I work with a lot of gym owners, and the number one metric that they're all obsessed about is how many members they have, or how much revenue they have, or that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. They sort of decide their business is growing based off membership count, right? If it's 100 one month and then 80 the next month, they think they haven't grown, and that's not necessarily true. It's not a very telling metric. It's like, just like revenue isn't a telling metric. It's like revenue is always going to go up and down, regardless of whether you have a successful business or not, right? Because even if you're running, let's say you're bringing in 1 million a month, you're still going to have months where it's 1.2. You're going to have months where it's 700 grand. It's the same thing, just at different scale. And so the thing that I would rather service-based business owners be interested in is actually about the outcome that happens because of working with you. Okay. And so before we get into this, there's going to be a few beliefs that we're going to need to, bring up. And if imagine it's like a balloon, I need to pop it, because these things are actually keeping you stalled in your business growth, but also stalled in your own personal growth and development. Okay. So let's have a little look quickly. High throughput, if you have a good amount of throughput in your business, i.e., clients are getting results consistently faster, you are going to have low churn, and you're going to have more referrals and more revenue, because your business is producing high levels of throughput, right? This is what determines whether or not a business has any kind of value for a customer, is what is being produced on the other side of it. Who do they become because of working with you? And right now, most gyms and wellness clinics, like I've just worked in a few wellness clinics this year, and it's the same thing. They're like, how many people came through the door this month? How many treatments did we sell? It's like, it's the wrong metric to be asking yourself. You got into this business to turn people's lives around and to help them with whatever it is that they're struggling with, and you've been sidetracked because you've also realized that there's a business that needs running, and that means making your bills and paying them, and obviously paying yourself for the time that you're putting in. And it's that chaos that has taken you away from why you got into this business in the first place. So I want to make sure that that's the problem we're going to be solving, and I need you to understand that starting to solve those problems, actual health problems, is going to be the thing that solves your business problems, and that's what I want to show you today. So look, there's so many different ways I could visualize this for you, but for all my CrossFitters in here, this is kind of yours, right? Most of you would have seen the sickness and wellness fitness continuum. And the idea is obviously that we want to be bringing in sick people, taking them to well, and turning them into fit people. And we do that using a CrossFit methodology, right? Eat meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, no sugar, paired with high intensity functional movements. Sorry, functional movements performed at high intensity across broad time mole domains. That pairing is like the unique formula we use to get results and to put people through this process, throughput. But here's the thing: most CrossFit affiliate owners and gyms are selling training, physical training. They're not adding value with nutritional coaching is an optional extra, even though the methodology prescribes it. The methodology says this is not going to work unless you address the nutritional behavior too. And yet 90% of CrossFit gyms have nutrition as an additional add-on program that's optional. So it's no wonder that your business maybe isn't growing at the rate you want it to, because you're not even sticking to a methodology that told you exactly how to deliver throughput in your business. And why is that the reason? Well, a lot of us are maybe scared of charging what we would need to charge in order to offer the two services alongside one another. And all that's happened there is that you just haven't maybe had enough space away from your business to creatively think about how to repackage this, which we're going to get into a little bit later. But the thing that I really want to point to is that in CrossFit Gym specifically, it's really hard to articulate to people what it is that they're going to get. And I hear this a lot in the CrossFit space. Well, the methodology can help people with everything. It's like, okay, great. So what does that mean? And they say, well, write down on a piece of paper what you want to be good at. Okay, you write that down. They say, well, we'll put it away and we'll throw it away. And in a year, we'll come back to that piece of paper. And if you just stick at this for a year, you'll be better at that thing. Now, in principle, I agree. Absolutely. Anyone who does anything for a year straight will be better at the thing. Go figure. But in reality, right, people don't stick at gyms for longer than about 9 months. And if you fail to address that fact that is based in data collected from gyms, then you will never allow people to get the result no matter how good the methodology is. So we have to surrender that the methodology is going to be the thing that actually gets us there. We have to look at how do we actually deliver good throughput so that we can make for a repeatable, scalable system that then it doesn't matter who comes in, it doesn't matter what they write down on the piece of paper. We have a system that they're buying into that's going to keep them on the straight and narrow so that they do actually make it, for example, that length of time for a year, okay? And this is what gyms are lacking. Gyms run straight into recurring revenue models, right? Just come for an inevitable amount of time, right? And we have no idea how long you need to go attend the gym for. Oh, it's a lifestyle, so forever. And you'll eventually get results. That's not a valuable product or service. That's a subscription. That's saying the same thing as Spotify says to you. Do you want to listen to music every day? Sure, it's $14.99. Do you want to work out every day? Sure, it's £80 a month. Like, that's the same price as a phone contract. It's not valuable. It might help fit people stay fit, but it ain't going to help sick people get well and well people get fit. It satisfies those people for a short amount of time. They think they're making progress, but they eventually fall to their lowest grade behavior or belief about themselves. And that's why the throughput isn't very good in these places. So every client kind of starts somewhere on that continuum, right? And your job as a gym owner is to move them forward no matter where they want to go. You need to know exactly where each person is and how long the journey should take, okay? And this is one of the things that gym owners and coaches really struggle to articulate. How long does healing take, right? How long is it going to take me to lose 20 kilos? How long is it going to take me? And you might, I used to get, again, lots of gym owners be like, well, I can't give you a timeline on that, Mike, because it's different for everyone. Not true. All that is that you haven't done this enough times with people consistently and gotten the same result consistently for people no matter what to know the answer to that question. Because I have done it with people consistently for a repeated amount of times. And I can tell you that it takes 30 days of eating 800 grams of fruits and vegetables to lose 3 to 5 kilos for men, 2.5 kilos for women. I can tell you that because I've done it so many times. I can also tell you that is also the point where they typically stop getting results. because anyone can do anything for 30 days, but changing a habitual behavior takes at least 90 days just to change one behavior. So, although that might get them the first result, what they're going to need to do in order to get more results and keep them for the long term is drastically different than what they did for the first 30 days. This is why diet plans don't work. So, without that level of clarity, this is what is kind of allowing your clients to drift through your services all the time. Clients are exercising with no end date and no idea when results are going to arrive. And so that uncertainty is actually the primary driver of churn, right? It's like, well, like I feel good. I go to the gym regularly and like it's okay, it's cool, like the coach is good and the community is great, but you know, ultimately I kind of really wanted to feel this by now, but I'm not. And they're not communicating that with you. These are the conversations that they're having at home with their spouses who maybe don't even exercise. And so they are literally in their ear being like, why did you go to the gym tonight? It doesn't even make you feel better. They're dragging them down, right? There's all these things are going on that you can't see that you are actually responsible for because the client came in thinking that you were going to help them with those things. Training was just the vehicle. Training was the thing that takes them out of their environment and puts them into your environment. Training is the carrot on the end of the stick. That's what training is. It can't do anything other than manipulate someone's physical appearance and physical health markers. Now, you might be thinking, but my methodology says that if you train enough, you'll create a hedge against sickness. And if you train, it doesn't matter how much you train. As soon as you stop training, that moves back. So it is literally like a power up bar. As long as you're powering up the bar, then you will have a hedge against sickness. But as soon as you have, let's say, I don't know, a big emotional trauma in your life, like grief, and you stop working out because your grief has overtaken your ability to see clearly and take action, you will become, it's only a matter of time. And this is something the health industry just really fails to address. It fails to address the mental, emotional, social, environmental, and existential components to health. This is why most gyms have very poor throughput and very high churn. So let's have a little look, right? The churn problem has a root cause. We've already kind of discussed a little bit of this, right? And there's no end date. Clients train indefinitely with no defined outcome or timeline. Without a finish line, like motivation is always going to fade. It just depends on how long it takes. No system, right? Because you don't have a system that delivers the same result to every single person in your business at the same time, every single class you deliver feels like it has to be your best. And if it's not good enough. Because the results, almost like rest on that. It rests on you giving great sessions all the time and giving people all the information that they could possibly get from you inside that hour. It's going to exhaust you. If you haven't already lived this, I have. And like, it is exhausting. You will burn out before you get people results. And like, you got to think about it as well. If you're having to say the same thing to like 100 people every single day, hey, I know you've trained and it's great, but I really need to see you eat more vegetables. I really need to see you change this about your lifestyle or change this or drink less or whatever it is. You shouldn't have to be saying that in the classes, right? Because it's almost like it doesn't matter how much you train. If you're not changing your lifestyle, you will not get results. So why would we put all the emphasis and the value and the charge for the membership on the training? It makes no sense. This is why coaches burn out, because they are fed up of giving everything to their clients and almost not getting anything back. There's no articulation. Neither the client or the owner, you, can clearly state what success actually looks like and when it should arrive. If I say to you, what is it that everyone gets within the first 30 days of working with you? If it's something surface level, like, oh, they feel more confident or they know how to snatch or deadlift better. It's like, they didn't come for that. They didn't. Even if they said, oh, I came to like learn better technique, that ain't why they're there. That's surface level. That's the mask they're presenting to you to get into the place because they think there's something else in there that they're going to get that they want. And it's your job to find out what it really is, right? For some people, especially fit people, like they come in, I just want to get better at technique. I want to know how to power clean. I want to know how to snatch. I'm really interested in sports. It's like, great. Okay. If we didn't do any of that, if I just was to do like pull-ups with you and running, how long would you stick around for? It's like, oh, well, I wouldn't. I'm only interested in Olympic lifting and snatching. It's like, okay, well, why? Right? Why is that the only thing you're interested in? Insert reason. Insert reason. It's like you just need, like, if you kept digging and digging and digging, you'll eventually find why they're really here. And usually it'll be something like, well, you know what? I actually just was looking for more social connections. Maybe I'm new to the area. And so I like sports. I haven't ever done Olympic lifting before, and I tend to be very good at things. And I haven't found anything that I'm good at recently, and I want to try something new. It's like, okay, so why is it important for you to have something in your life that you're really, really good at? And why don't you have that already? Why do you think you're going to find that in weightlifting? You have to be willing to dig deeper in order to create better throughput into your business. Because if you find out that underneath the surface, somebody wants to work on Olympic lifting because ultimately they have a problem with their ego, that ain't going to cut well in a gym that is asking for transformation of behavior and identity and all these things. Okay? We'll come back to that later. Kind of gone off a tangent, but it's fine. So look, let's look at the difference between bandwidth and throughput, right? This is what most gyms are chasing bandwidth. They're like, well, I want 150 to 300 members. And the reason they focus on then membership numbers, class attendance, revenue per head is because they're actually just worried about like having their bills covered, which is important and you need that. But if that's the only thing you're chasing, it goes against the very fabric of our cosmos and why business exists in the first place. Business can only exist if it is creating value on either side of it for a customer and producing return on investment for the people who are, invested in it. That's the only two parameters that a business can flourish in. It has to have both of those things. As soon as it loses one, it will lose the other, right? Because if it's not producing value, it can't produce return on investment for investors, okay, or for significant parties. If it's returning, massive gains for investors, but it has no value on the other side of it, if it's not producing any value for a client, no one's going to buy it. And so the two things are very linked. Throughput, right, which is what actually drives growth, is how many people get what they came for and how fast. And this is the metric that compounds. This is results every week, right? Who's making the most changes in my facility? Celebrate them. What is the average time to the first trackable result, right? To the first important outcome that the majority of my clients are after? What percentage of my clients are actually reaching their stated goal inside the first 3 months? Okay. Now, I knew this for my gym. I knew that every single person, because of my client journey that I'd set up, because I paid attention to this, I built a client journey that meant every single person that walked through my gym with a goal of improving their health and fitness, no matter what the improvement was, they would get it in the first 90 days and would have to make a new goal in order to stay in the business. You might be thinking, well, how can you deliver that? Because I was willing, or I would say I was unwilling to give people what they told me they wanted. And instead, I was more focused on giving them what they needed. So rather than just selling training, which is easy to sell training, they turn up there, I want to train. Okay, here it is. This is how you sign up to most gyms. I'd like to train, please. Please sign on the dotted line. Instead of that, I said, why? What are you here to achieve? What happens if you don't achieve that within 90 days? What happens if nothing changes? What happens if you stay exactly the same as you are right now? What have you tried in the past? Right? I dug deeper to find out what it is that they actually want help with. Well, Mike, what I've actually really been struggling with is I've tried every gym in this area. This is the thing that always came up for me. I've tried every gym. I've been to gyms. I've quit gyms. I can never stick at gyms. I don't know what the problem is. And I say, okay, you need to start with one-to-one training, and I'm only prepared to do one-to-one training for the first 90 days. But Mike, I can't afford that. Well, you also can't afford to keep wasting your money and time at gyms that allow you to join in the groups where you eventually lose motivation and quit. You're not allowed to do that at my gym. So the only thing that you're allowed based off your history is one-to-one until you can show me and we can change enough of your lifestyle behaviors that I know you can do it by yourself and with a group of people, right? This level of conversation is what people actually need, even though it's not what they want. So I was prepared to say, I don't need your money. I don't need a sale because you're going to negatively impact my throughput. I want you to zoom out for a little bit If your existential health is poor, this is going to go over your head. Our reality is designed to help so that people can help other people. It's in us. It's innate. It's something that doesn't matter whether you believe in God or not. It's something God built within us to give and to do for other people. And he designed us all individually so that we all have somebody who can we can lean on and use for help with the thing that we need help with. And so if you bring that into your business and you have that lens of it matters more to get this person the result and help them in the right way than it does for them to, inject a sum of money into my business, you will actually like it's almost like a beacon of light will go off in the universe, and all of the people that are in agreement with that will find you. And if you don't believe me, try it. Start saying no to a few bad fits at day one because you're more willing to get them a result and see what happens in your business. So look, let's talk now about like the system. Okay. This is cool. These are the 4 health markers that everyone wants, no matter where they are, right? If they're going into a wellness clinic, if it's a CrossFit affiliate, if it's High Rocks, whatever it is, if it's just a gym, personal training studio, right? Fit it in. Regardless of their stated goal, right? Every client is chasing improvement across these health markers: their physical health, their mental health, their emotional health, or their social health. That's it. This is what they want to see. So if it's physical health, what kind of things are they looking for there? Strength. They want to improve their strength. They want to improve maybe their energy levels, right? They want to have more energy for their kids. They want to improve their body composition. Mobility, right? Oh, I can't touch my toes and like my body hurts. Everything just sucks. Just want to be able to move freely, right? Attached to all of those physical outcomes that they're looking for are a bunch of mental health factors and a bunch of emotional health factors. Why do you want strength? Well, I feel weak. Well, how does being weak make you feel? I'm low in mood. I don't have any energy. That makes me unhappy. Unhappiness is having an impact on my relationship. You can see how like all these things are linked to emotional, mental, and social triggers. Being weak is kind of considered like no one really even cares in my social group about being strong. They all want me to drink. And like that's kind of where my belonging comes from. And I feel unhealthy about it now. But I don't have anyone else that kind of wants to, right? You can see how like we're all kind of we become the average of the people that we spend the most time with. And so if our social, emotional, and mental health is pretty poor, physical health is going to be poor as a result. This is why fit people tend to thrive with other fit people, but that keeps your business kind of broke because fit people don't really want any help with their mental, emotional, social health because they think they've kind of got it all together. We'll talk about how they're using it to numb, but hey, that's a different conversation for another day. But this is also why businesses like fitness businesses particularly stay kind of broke, is because fit people, like of course they flourish in gyms, right? And they all and like this is why the volume model exists, is that gyms are really built for fit people, but they should be for well and sick people, and they shouldn't really be for fit people. Fit people would be fit whether they had a gym or not. Why? Because they would find somewhere to train. They would find some way to do something for their body because that's who they are. They don't need much from us. So look, how do we do this? Well, look, I started with an assessment. This was a great piece for a few reasons, right? The single highest leverage practice to increase throughput in your business is a structured onboarding assessment, right? Because it's going to tell the client exactly where they actually are and what the gap is between where they are and where they want to go, right? And within that, you can actually tell them it's going to take this long. This is how long this should take, okay? Why can't I go there? There we go. It's going to give you baseline data. If you're not tracking where people are when they make progress, you can't know. It's just a feeling, and a feeling is really hard to market, right? Oh, I'm Sally, and I came in and I was low on confidence, and now I'm high on confidence. Like high on confidence in what? Oh, I couldn't deadlift 40 kilos when I came in, but now I can deadlift 80 kilos. It's like we can all see that you've improved. That's a tracked metric, but that's just an adaptation of training. It's not a result, right? What we're looking for by starting with a baseline assessment is things like, gosh, I didn't really know how bad I was. I didn't know where, I didn't have any like clarity on just how bad things had gotten in my life. But the assessment really revealed just how poor my health was. And it was so much worse than I thought it was. I'm so grateful. This is what drives value. Clarity drives value here. Then here's the next bit. Because I've like defined where you are and where you want to go and the gap between, and I've given you a timeline and a realistic timeline, and I've communicated how long this is going to take, that creates a little sense of like urgency, but also trust of like, wow, I've joined several gyms and no one's ever told me that it's going to take me 90 days to lose my first 8 kilos. And no one's really showed me the kind of like steps that I would need to take and on almost like a week by week process of what that's going to look like and what I need to do. And every time that they've done it, if they've done it, it's always seemed really unachievable. Whereas this seems achievable because it's delivered like this, right? It's up to you to obviously insert how this is all done. You're the professional. That shared language that you're using in these assessment pieces for both the coach and the client means that you guys now have a clear way of communication on what progress looks like, right? If I'm telling my clients, hey, week 4 is a little sticky, right? The first 2 weeks, it's going to be super fun. You're going to love learning new techniques in the gym. We're going to teach you a bunch of stuff. I'm going to make you feel seen and heard because we're going to be in a one-to-one environment. So you're only going to be talking to me. But week 4, I go a little bit quiet in week 4 because I've spent 2.5, 3 weeks with you. And week 4 is about you starting to maybe do some of these things by yourself. That might be that might be a wobble for your emotional health and your mental health. You might feel a little unsupported there. I just want to let you know about that in advance. And here's the best practice to get through week 4, right? And then if you're anticipating the pitfalls that they're going to have along their journey with you, right? Hey, Sally, you're going to feel a little bit out of your depth if I put you in a group class within the first 90 days, because a lot of people in my group classes do this thing called a snatch. It's a very high complex skilled movement. It requires a bunch of mobility that through our assessment piece, we've just discovered that you don't quite have that yet. It's going to take you at least like a good 3 to 6 months of one-to-one work to really develop it to a point where you feel confident inside a group to be able to do this. For that reason, I'm going to protect you. I'm going to keep you and recommend that we keep you in one-to-one. You can see how this isn't a sales conversation. This is a logical next step, right? Sally's going, you're absolutely right. I'm so glad you know me at that level. How much is one-to-one, right? They're already sold into it. And if they can't afford it, you change the delivery. It's like, okay, it's still one-to-one, but rather than, an hour session, it's 30-minute sessions. If it's can't afford that, well, why don't we do some PT online or whatever it is? We change the delivery to meet the needs of the client. Cool. That shared language is so valuable. Because, and like, this is ultimately that's obviously the first highest leverage way to kind of start increasing throughput is you hold their hand a lot at the start and you get really good at prescribing. But ultimately, these 4 pillars is actually how you secure throughput in your business. Okay. The great thing about this is like, I think when CrossFit kind of came on the scene, I'm going to talk about CrossFit for a second. When CrossFit came on the scene, everyone thought this is the end of the fitness industry forever. Right. And then 20 years go by and CrossFit is exactly where it is right now. It's nowhere near doing what it was doing. And it's had such a drastic impact that kind of now everyone's doing CrossFit and it's not really called CrossFit anymore. Affiliates are down. We could go on and on and on. High Rocks is the new thing, which is just a load of CrossFitters that didn't like doing high skilled things and have moved over to a CrossFit workout that's just not called CrossFit. It's just called High Rocks. And now that's kind of, blowing up. And bodybuilding blew up, and spinning blew up, and Pilates is now blowing up, and yoga studios are blowing up, right? These are all like, none of these things were ever new, right? Like CrossFit isn't new and wasn't new in 2001 either. It's just that someone decided that they would combine all the things that already existed in fitness to make a new thing, but nothing is new. it will come and go is what I'm trying to talk about, is that people will be attracted to it, and then they'll discover the thing and they'll be like, if it doesn't work, if I don't like it, for whatever reason, I'm out, right? The things that will never change because we are human beings is somebody's need to change their behavior, somebody's need to change their nutritional habits, somebody's need to recover between workouts, no matter what the workout is, and the effective dosage or potency of the training that you're doing. Those four pillars, if you can switch to that being your model and the only thing that you're really interested in, what you do in terms of your core service or your group class shouldn't matter, because people know exactly what's expected when they're going to change their behavior. They know when they're going to change their nutritional habits. They know how they're going to optimize their recovery. They know how they're going to get real um, good return or good bang for their buck, let's say, because their dosage is dialed in, right? So there's a few things that I have in terms of beliefs here. Like, I believe that if you're consistently asking people to monitor their behavior, right, practice things like gratitude, they will stick around in your gym for longer because they are rewiring or having the opportunity to rewire the brain chemistry, right? The neuroplasticity of the brain. Let's just talk about, like, if I say 5 positive things to myself, um, I'm a really valuable person. I have skills and things that people need from me specifically that only I can deliver. I'm loved by my family. Um, Gosh, what else could I say about myself? You get the point. It only takes 1 or 2 things for me to be like, wow, I feel quite good about myself right now. The same is true for your business. If you start looking for the wins in your business, you will reprogram your brain away from lack and you'll start attracting in a little bit more, because the universe has to respond to how you think. That's how our reality is shaped, essentially, right? So if I start saying, okay, let's say I'm not where I want to be in my business, but I start saying on a Friday every single week, my business grew this week because I spoke to 3 new people who I'd never spoken to before about my business, right? Did it grow financially? No. Did it grow its reputation? Yes, because now 3 more people are aware of what you do, right? If 3 more people became aware of your business, it grew. You just don't have any evidence that it grew, other than the fact that you did that thing, right? But as soon as you start shifting to that kind of mindset and looking for positive change, you find it. And the more your brain finds it, the more it looks for it and expects it. And if you're expecting something to happen, it does, right? If you're worried about paying your bills, probably can't pay your bills. If you're expecting to be profitable and expecting to have money come through the door or expecting a new client to walk in, it's so much better and so much more joyful when it happens, right? It's the same thing for your clients. If they can start to spot progress, you know, last week squats were really hard. This week I felt like I got a little bit more depth. I felt like I was this. If we start encouraging behavior change, the conversations that we have in our heads, we're going to find better results. Our clients are going to find results. This is what relieves you of having to put it all on that one class, right? Nutrition habits. If I'm including nutritional help and guidance inside my core service, I don't have to tell Sally what to eat, or that if she just did this more, it would happen. If it's already built into her service, it's the conversation is different. Hey, Sally, how did you get on this week with the homework I gave you in your nutrition folder? Mike, I tried. I struggled. I struggled with this rather than that. Hey, do you want help with this? Yes, please. Let's do it this way. Sound good? Let's do it that way. Good, easy, done. Like, there's no pressure because you already have a system in place. And any time, like, these things, this is what drives results inside gyms and wellness clinics, right? Optimal recovery, sleep, stress management, deload protocols that allow the body to adapt. Most people, this is what really leads into dosage. Most people in gyms are overtraining. If you only opened your gym 3 days a week, gym owners don't do that because they're afraid of not giving enough access. They're afraid of going against the grain, when in reality, it would improve results. Why? Because people would be forced to recover. Something that, especially in the CrossFit space, gym owners don't account for is that training increases appetite. And if you're not delivering nutritional services to everyone in your gym, and you're blasting them with training, they are going home and overeating. because they feel exhausted. And it leads them to burnout. So they can't actually recover, which is an essential ingredient for adaptation and results, therefore, right? Recovery is actually where it happens. Physical training is the breaking down of a muscle. So if you're constantly breaking yourself down and you can't rebuild, you can't get results. This is why people train for years and their body never shifts. Their body never changes. They have the same body composition, even if they've been training with you for 5 years on the best methodology out there. Optimal recovery and dosage, training frequency, calibrated to the individual, right? Because more is not always better at all. And that, like I said, this is the recovery paradox. Most people in gyms are over exercising, under recovering, and the number one reason they don't see results. Your gym shouldn't encourage members to train more than about 3 to 4 times a week at a push, even for people who are super duper fit. Why? Because I bet you their intensity in those workouts would be higher if they were recovering. It's not even a bet. It's a known certainty. It feels right to offer access and limited access and reward attendance. But let's just ask ourselves, what's the heart posture of that? Is there a fear that you won't be financially successful enough in order to operate any other model other than, well, I need to be everything for everyone? Chances are probably yes. But if we are to focus on results and throughput, what actually works is restricted frequency, structured recovery, and lifestyle focus. Those are the things that work. They transcend everything else. They transcend fitness trends, right? It doesn't matter what CrossFit says. It doesn't matter what Hyrox is saying. It doesn't matter what Pilates studio just opened up down the road. We focus on actual results here. So it doesn't really matter what the methodologies are. They will always change throughout human history. But what will never change is those 3 things right there. If you restrict the frequency of something, you improve the potency, right? If you have structured and optimal recovery, you increase adaptation. And if you focus on lifestyle and behavior, you give people internal change that changes their outer reality. And that's what people actually want in the health and wellness industry as a whole. Like I said, the outcome, higher potency, faster results, and lower churn. High throughput is going to change everything in your business because everything feeds into everything else, right? Right now, the chances are if you're low on leads or you have to do extreme amounts of marketing to get new leads, you're probably not delivering enough client results. Because why would anyone refer you? If you're just a fun place to go and exercise, you're as great, you're as good as a Starbucks. That's a fun place to go and drink coffee. Another fun place to go and drink is a bar, right? But if I'm having a life-changing result, if I'm saying to people like, if my friends are going, whoa, you're so different. What's happened? Like your body's changed. You've got this glow about you. Like you've got like new clothes. You've got these things. Oh, I've been going to this gym and like they've like changed my outlook on life. They've changed how I think of myself. My behavior's changed. Like I'm so glad you're noticing it because like yeah, I feel amazing. Every single one of those people want to know exactly where you've gone. But yeah, you should go. It's great, right? Referrals go up. If you're getting great client results, referrals and leads are going to go through the roof. Why? Well, because you also have more social proof. Everybody in your business is getting results at day 30, day 90, day 180 and 365. You know exactly in a client journey when it is that you're going to be able to share testimony from each and every one of your clients rather than what you currently do, which is probably going, hey, could you share a testimony if you've had a good result, please? Like, right? Like, how many of us do that? How many of us send the dreaded email of like, please leave us a review? Rather than like, Sally, you've been here for 90 days and I know you've lost over 8.5 kilos. I'm so proud of you and I'd love to celebrate you. Can we do that? Yeah, hell yeah. I'd love to do that. Great. Do you remember in the intro, I said I'd ask you for a referral at day 90 as well? Have you thought of anyone? Because remember, I did tell you, Mike, I remember you telling me on the intro. I remember getting the email, and I've already got 5 people lined up for you. If you've prepared people in advance for these things, your whole business can just run so much more smoothly than it currently is. And it's because you've shifted to focusing on actually delivering results to clients rather than trying to fill your gym with because you've got good bandwidth, right? Throughput is essential. If you get good social proof, revenue and opportunities are just going to find you, right? Because it becomes a known fact that your business delivers this one thing, this one outcome, right? When clients are getting great results, like they're your best marketing, 100%. More success stories means more trust, which even means sales is going to be easier because, like, oh, I saw so and so on your Instagram and I really saw myself in their story. So that's why I'm here. I want what they've got. Oh, great. Let's get started. It's 485 quid. It's a little higher than usual gyms. Oh, no, I know that. It's fine. I want that. Like, that's the level of conversation that you could be having. So, look, how you need to make this like applicable into your area. But essentially, one of the best ways to do it is you start maybe asking some of your best clients, right? Why is it that they use you, and what did they get from you? What was the first big result that they remember getting from you? And it's going to be so different across the board. But for my gym specifically, usually what happened at day 30 was they lost 2.5 kilos. That was the big thing. So they already had a little bit of shift in body weight composition. The next thing that they did, or that they felt was a tangible result, was essentially how confident they felt walking around in their clothes, right? Which might sound a little bit like, well, why is that important? It's like, what's really important? Because most of us want to feel better walking around in our clothes. In fact, it's probably where a lot of us want to feel better. And people who aren't yet ready to be like, I want to feel good naked, that's like a next step. Scale that. It's, I want to feel better inside the clothes that I already have. That rings true for a lot of people who want to come into gyms. So if you start promising that, well, that will change. Like in the first 30 days, we can help you feel better in your clothes, right? And we can actually help you lose 2.5 kilos. You're going to get every single person that wants to feel better in their clothes and wants to lose 2.5 kilos right now. Do you know how powerful that marketing is versus like, we have a 6 a.m. class or like, we value coaching excellence. It's night and day different, right? So this is how you unlock your full gym's potential. You need to get really clear on things like that. This is what I do. My mission is to help gym owners, coaches, fitness businesses like yours achieve sustainable growth. I'm not really interested in running paid ads to a business that isn't like already delivering high throughput. The only time to turn ads on is actually when you're delivering a product that is, time and time again, delivers the same result for same people all the time. It has to be high value. Most of you are looking to turn paid ads on because you're like, I need members. You're focused on bandwidth and you're not focused on results. So I help them grow by mastering throughput, mastering it. And this just isn't, it's not about more members. It's about deeper impact and lasting success for your, customers who are engaging. Like, it's a privilege to run a business. And 100%, I'll hold my hands up as well. I started on the same side that I'm preaching. I'm preaching that you shouldn't be focused on bandwidth. I focused on bandwidth. That's how I know not to focus on bandwidth, because it didn't matter how hard I worked, my business never grew the way I wanted it to grow, because impact was also really important to me and I wanted to do it the right way. And what I found through that was that every time I drove more impact, I drove more revenue as a result. It was an outcome. It was a knock-on effect of delivering a better and higher value service. So how do I do it? I do it in these 3 ways. I optimize your client journey. So we work backwards from essentially the end result. What would it take for somebody to never need you again? What does that look like? And we work backwards from there. And then we plot where they are. We figure out an assessment piece. And then we just literally plot all the milestones, what would need to guide them. Think of your throughput machine as all the services that you would actually need to include in order to deliver the result, right? Rather than sell them on something to get them in and then have to try and upsell them all the time through the journey. Like, no, wrong way. That allows you to deepen a client connection, right? I help you learn to ask questions that go underneath the surface, to reveal like people's true motivations. That allows you to position your service as the logical next step. You actually have to get better at, emotionally interviewing. You have to get better at maybe diving into people's trauma a little bit. You have to get better at spotting behavior and beliefs and alters, right? These are beliefs that are actually false and that go against the very thing that we're actually trying to achieve, right? Because these are the things that are actually going to stop somebody or slow them down. And this is what future proofs your business model, right? You're going to build a business that transcends fleeting fitness trends. You're not going to be worried about the gym that opens down the road with the brand new spanking whatever it is, because if they're not offering behavior change, nutritional coaching, and lifestyle and recovery and all the things that actually move the needle forwards, they're just going to be like every other gym, which is overtraining, under eating, and therefore underperforming, and just in a constant need to chase fitness like it's somewhere, like it's a destination that they're suddenly going to arrive at. It's just not that. It's not true. The drivers of humans are behavior, self-perception, and holistic well-being. That's what we want. We want to be free. We want to be happier. We want to be happy in our bodies. We want to be more free in our bodies, and we want to feel better about ourselves. We want to behave in a nice way. So ultimately, that's kind of what I do. I help businesses really align their services from start to end. And obviously, we adjust their pricing really, because like a lot of gyms are also underpriced. And you got to think about this from even just your perspective. If I suddenly like 10x your current prices, right? What kind of fear would that bring up for you? What kind of beliefs would that bring up? Oh, I don't think I can be. Like no one's going to pay that, right? Like these are the things that actually keep you in a glass ceiling with your business, because you actually have all these kind of like limiting beliefs as well, and you're not aware of them. And so that's what I do. I bring awareness to all these things, and then I help you navigate yourself out of it. And this is what creates profitable businesses. I went from honestly struggling, like before I went through my own mentorship, I was bringing in like 7 grand a month revenue, not even take home pay. But after all of this, 15 to 20K months consistently. Average length of engagement, 26 months. So people would stay for well over 2 years on average. And we delivered results. That was the big key thing. And so, yeah, we were able to try to, some of our goals were like 300 grand years. And we were doing this inside like a 2,500 square foot gym. It was tiny. I delivered that off like 40 members. So I didn't need 150 members. I did it off 40. And I can help you do the same thing. I hope you found value in that. See you soon.